Okay. Every time it does that, it counts to 15 seconds and starts over. I just wanted to show a deck that someone asked to see nicely in a comment back when I showed the Oracle of the Radiant Sun. Someone named Empress, whose channel's named Empress Norma, asked to see the Moon Oracle, which I have, so here it is. Get that out of the way. Earlier the camera wasn't working, so I thought that was the end of this, or at least having to go back to a lesser camera, I guess, but it still works. It just doesn't work the easy way to do this, which is connected to the computer. But then it started working, so hey. But here's the Moon Oracle. Let the phases of the moon guide your life. Kind of happens without a deck. Caroline Smith and John Astrop again, the same people who did the Oracle of the Radiant Sun, or whatever the title was. It's one of those boxes with that plastic thing that's never quite tall enough to keep the cards in place, but hey, I'm not a box person anyway, so I will look at that later, kind of, maybe, sort of. And these are broken up. I guess we'll have to bring in the book to explain this a little bit. So I might as well say this version is 2019 that I'm showing. Apparently it came out in Britain anyway in the year 2000. It's the 150th Oracle deck for me, if that matters. Probably to nobody but me. Let's see, printed in China, Edison Books, which is kind of connected to Schiffer, kind of sometimes it seems. Then they remind you that if you live down under, like in the southern hemisphere, that everything the book says is kind of sort of phases of the moon anyway, reversed. But you can see they're kind of broken up into three sets of cards: the moon phases, the moon goddesses, the moon mansions. 32 phase cards, 12 goddess cards, 28 mansions cards, for a total of 72 cards. And some of the spreads just use, as you'll see, there are spreads. But at the back, it uses the moon phases and moon mansions together, which gives you 32 plus 28 or 60 cards. So that's a little different. And I read this and went through and highlighted a bunch of stuff. But I've always been into the moon, but maybe not to this detail, because it is got a lot of information. And I went through and looked for all the Uranuses, not yours, mine, but all the Uranuses for Aquarius anyway, that little weird symbol that they make. And it pops up in a lot of places, of course. I'm not sure I'd want to go with Freya as my whatever goddess, more of a hell person, but hey. And that's what the books look like, and there's at least 8 that would kind of work with Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra at the same time, as we'll see here in a second. And then it goes through and does the goddesses. Somewhere there will be Freya. There she is. Not really thinking of her that way. She does do something interesting. Kiss a few frogs. I guess that won't hurt. Then there's a bunch of mansion cards. I'm not sure I would have made that, art-wise, I would have made that number that big on each card, as you'll see when we get to the cards. Kind of mark the Uranus ones again. Okay. And then what's at the back? We have the spreads. I'm going through the book first because it kind of helped to explain what's coming up. The elemental cross. There's a lot of cross spreads. The 7 sisters, which kind of looks interesting. I just don't see the Celtic cross this way, but I get it. And then there's this big old table at the back called the Moon Tables, which goes oddly at starts at 2016, even though the book's 2019, or it was the year 2000. So that's a little strange. And then, did I mark today? Yes, there it is. Gibbous, March 6, 2020, 11:48 GMT time, Leo Fire. So that's how you could look stuff up once you get your GMT time. So I guess this book will last me until the year 2032. And that's the end of it. I'm sure there'll be another edition by then. But that's a nice book. Here are the cards. Let's just pick one at the bottom here. It says Black Moon, Air. It's the 8th card. Each little grouping has 8 cards. Little moon phases. So keyword revision and dormant. Air. And the back is going to be almost impossible to show you. Let me change windows so I can see what I'm doing, to see if I can even get close. I think the black light helps to make it pop out a little bit. There you go. If I can be still enough. Too much coffee, I think. You can kind of see there's something that looks like a deer, and then, or maybe an antelope, and something that looks like a lion or a cat to her left, my left, her right, to her right, to her left, something like a deer. I'm not sure if this is one of the goddesses. We'll look here in a second. So let's turn that off because it's altering what these look like. And let you look at that first 3 sets, and there goes the sun in and out. It's decided to be very windy and very cold. Here comes the last little group of these. Maybe we need a cloth. Getting to where I remember this a little better after all that practice in February. Maybe that helped. Cloth isn't big enough. Sorry. So there's the last of those groupings of 8, the moon phase cards. Here are the beginning of the moon goddesses cards. And all the backs are the same. Sorry. But no hell. There she is. The backs of the cards are Artemis. That's interesting. I didn't catch that before. Here comes the rest of the goddesses and the beginning of the mansions. Gaia, Lilith, Kali, Hecate, Freya. And see how big these numbers are? It'd be much nicer if they weren't so gigantic. Could have just put it right there. There's Uranus, in case you were looking for that. That's interesting. Visitor. Usually they're on either side. I can't read that. Here comes the, what was that? 1 through 8 mansions. Here comes 9 through 22 mansions. Looking for the Uranus ones. There's one. There should be another one. Bank, bouquet, and door. Whoops. 22. And here are the rest of the mansions. 23 to 28. Uranus, Mask, Rebel. And there's the box again. Did I show all the sides of the box? I don't think so. Example card, the bottom. One of them pull-out deals with the plastic that's not quite big enough. Whoa, excuse me. Too much coffee. There's a little bit on the back, kind of scratched, printed in China. We already kind of looked at the book, so I'm able to speed this along a little bit. So I hope that's helpful to Empress Norma or anyone else that might be interested. So with that, also today, probably later today, there will be a live chat. I'll just sneak that in here. So with that, I will say peace.